You're such an asshole.
You got questions, I got answers by going to assholeconsulting.com, where you can employ me, the world's only professional asshole. I still am to this day. America's older brother, the guy you might want to run some ideas past before you piss away $100,000 of your parents' money on a worthless degree, or spend cashing out your 401k plan on buying a sports bar. Come talk to me at assholeconsulting.com. Hi, Aaron. I have several questions for you on what steps I should take in my life. I'm 37, never married, no kids, and live in Sacramento, California. I used to work for a large investment management firm in LA, was laid off in 2009 after the financial crisis. But a large investment firm, didn't they have CFAs? Didn't they have MBAs? Didn't they know the housing bubble was supposed to happen? They're just so intelligent. Kidding. It worked out pretty well, and I received around $50,000 in the severance package. Right afterwards, I took off for Brazil for a month to reevaluate my life, and it was during that time I decided I was going to start my own business. Outstanding. While on unemployment, I started going through different seminars, reading everything I could on business, and talking to different business owners and industries across the board. I ended up on deciding on a franchise. We'll keep it that way, since there will be a large demand for this services. I opened in 2010. The first few years were financially tough, and I did what I had to do to get by, including moving back home with my parents for around a year and keeping all my personal and business expenses very low. Bravo! After living at home, I lived with roommates up until around 6 months ago. I definitely had many bumps in the road, but each year my revenue income has grown. I paid down all the debt that I had last year. Okay, look at this. So I opened in 2010. 2010, it's 2017 now, barely ended. So 6.5 years later. Think about it. The man just suffered. The man just sacrificed for 6.5 years, and now he's making $250,000 a year. Oh, but you're going to go get your doctorate in philosophy. Okay, I'm just saying, it's possible. And I expect to make around $300,000. I currently have around $270,000 in cash, and imagine my business would be valued around $1 million. Actually, just a little rule of thumb. I know this has nothing to do with your request, but you basically take 15 and multiply. For private companies, compared to like a publicly traded S&P 500, take 15, multiply it by your earnings. That's what you sell your company for. Ever so roughly. You obviously will want to have a professional organization evaluate. I also have around $25,000 in an old 401k account, but haven't contributed to my retirement account since I started my business. I have zero debt and avoid it at all costs. I do have credit cards I use for business, but always pay them off every month, basically to use the miles for any flight. Look at this! Look at this! Again, sometimes I wonder why you guys come talk to me. I also rent a townhouse close to my work. Because of the volatility of my business, I would need to keep at minimum $100,000 cash. My goal is to become completely financially independent and have multiple relatively passive revenue streams around the next 10 to 15 years. Basically have the choice to do nothing but travel if I really wanted to. Most likely that would drive me nuts, and I would be involved in something though. My questions to you are, what should I do with my current cash and income made in the future? I feel both the housing market here and the stock market are extremely overvalued. They are. Should I just keep stacking money and wait for the eventual correction? That's a strategy. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. Should I buy a home? No, not in Sacramento, California. No. You do not buy property in North Korea. You do not buy property in Venezuela. You do not buy property in pre-Castro 1959 Cuba. You do not buy property in 1917, 1916 Russia. All right, you do not invest in communist states, and California is a communist state. I know they'll tell you other. There's no reason to invest in Sacramento. None. Right? I mean, there's a piece of me that says if you find the cheapest of shittiest places just to hang your hat, lay your head, and maybe rent the room out to a buddy, in the expectation that property prices will go up, but understand you're playing a capital gains play, which you know what that is working at the firm, so you know that. You know, like if you could find a house that is just as cheap as rent, including repairs and maintenance, maybe. But man, I really would not. I'd be just renting the cheapest, smallest place you could find up until that point. Should I pay it down? Should I buy a home? If so, should I pay my home down first? Start buying rental properties, invest in the stock market, start another business. I would like to know how I should prioritize my next steps and if I should wait. I do keep my expenses pretty low, but I would like to have a home in around the $400,000 to $500,000 range and purchase a used car for around $35,000 every 5 to 7. What is with you fucking Californians? A used car for $35,000? Are you fucking kidding me? Do you need that for image? Is that a thing? Like, that's just an unavoidable expense over on the dipshit coast? A used car for 35 grand. Dude, I bought my used car for 3,500, and it was a rolled over salvage vehicle. All right? 35 grand, you should get a brand new car for 35 grand. So I mean, again, unless you absolutely need this, like, I got a dick too, look at how big my dick is, as proxied by this brand new Mercedes, sort of. You don't need $35,000 for a car. I don't think for your type of business, no one's looking at what type of car. You're not a lawyer, you're not a realtor, you're not somebody that has to fake it and hide your poverty and your misery. All right? You actually have a legitimate business, but people aren't going to care what you pull up in. The house price, that's just what's going to be there. Ideally, I'd like to create over the next 10 years $150,000 income outside my current business. Oh, you'd like that? Oh. I would like a Jennifer Aniston circa 1995-y, 1996-y to just come on over to my house and service me like a lube place would service my car. It's not going to happen, right? So then I asked you, let me see, okay. Do you need to live near where you work? And I presume you're in California, correct? Also, is there any way to expand your business, or are you topped out where you're at now? Finally, can you train a manager to take over your business? Blah, blah, blah. And he says, at this point, I do need to live near my business. The last year, I have hired staff to take some of the day-to-day off my plate, but still need to steer the ship. I'm currently in Sacramento. I was kind of hoping you weren't. I mean, I know that's where your business is. I was kind of hoping you weren't there. I've been working on the next guy to me to sell one of his territories to me without the clients for $100,000, and you double the market share. If I do not get another territory, my income would be close to topping out, maybe another $30,000 to $50,000. He hasn't decided yet, but I think we will reach a deal some point. He has 4 territories and isn't doing well there. Few years, I can increase my income around $200,000 to $300,000 if developed properly. Obviously, this would provide the best return and be my top priority. If I could get that territory, it would also allow me to have some extra funds to hire a solid manager. That person would probably cost me $90,000. Okay, all right. All right, here's the problem. What your question basically boils down to is the question I had. You didn't intend to do this. You had an innocent thing. It's the question I get from these 19, 20-year-old fucking lazy millennial fuck douchebags. And that is, dude, what kind of business should I start? And you're not asking that question. What you're asking is, okay, I've started a business. I'd like to diversify my income sources. How do I diversify them to get $150,000? The problem is, as you're kind of aware, you're not going to get these high rates of return or adequate rates of return in traditional investments. Things like your 401ks, but the stock market, bonds don't pay shit. Real estate investment trusts, yeah, you go rental property, but boy, you got to pick the right property. And that's potentially an option. I know I don't like California, but if you got to be there for a while, maybe looking at a rental property isn't the worst thing. But all this money printed off by quantitative easing infinity, low interest rates, have all flooded all asset classes, driving the rates of return, the dividend yields, the interest rates, and your rental rates to historic lows. Not necessarily historic, but very low. That's like, what the fuck am I going to get 2% dividends for on the stock market? What am I going to get my 0.5% in the savings market? And real estate also is becoming very pricey. Although rents are kind of, they're not, it's not as bad as 2000. Well, actually it is. But there are rents, there's some slight differences between the housing bubble today and back then. But it's just, where do you find a decent high rate of return? And the truth is, you're not going to find a decent high rate of return until you start another business. So here's the question to you. Do you have time to go start another business? And chances are you don't. All right? So you got to figure out, all right, I got this money coming in. Where do I invest it? And I know you'd like to have multiple income streams and diversified. You'd like to make $150,000 in 10 years, just residual income. I can't promise it won't happen, but I'm going to tell you it's not going to happen. The rates of return are just not there where you throw your money unconsciously into some kind of investment and it's going to generate that kind of return. The only place that you're going to get that is by starting another business in entrepreneurship. So this puts you at a paradox or a problem, but I think I have the solution. Okay. I know you're Californian. I know you've been in California. And you're not no leftist, you're a real worker, but you still have this California mindset. And the reason why is that you're saying, well, I'm making, what is it? You have $270,000 cash. You made around $250,000 last year. You expect to make around $300,000 this year. Mathematically, and being fully honestly and true, you only need, in today's dollars as a baby boomer, which you're not, but you only need about $500,000 to $600,000 to retire. That's all you really need. Now you'd need more because you're not a 65-year-old fuck baby boomer who didn't save up money and you're going to die at 85. What I'm trying to do is put things into perspective. If you are making so much money now on your business that you're worried about, you got to have $150,000 in residual. What you maybe want to be thinking about right now is, let me just save all my money and invest it in these shitty ass asset classes that pay their 2% a year or whatever. You know, have yourself your diversified portfolio. But I think your goal should be fuck you money, is frankly what I think. Now, yes, tomorrow your business could go belly up. I doubt it because it's hedged and banked on, one of the trends in the futures, and is one of the reasons you invested in it. You did your homework up front. So I think this business is going to be around at least for 5 years. At least. 5 years at $300,000 a piece, take-home pay. I know you got living expenses as well. Well, let's say you piss it away, okay? You take home and net savings $150,000 for 5 years with $750,000 10 years from now. All right, that's you just pissing it away. It lasts 10 years. You got 1.5 million. Now you're getting a little bit closer. In other words, you may not need to start another business. You would just reinvest in this one, and that's why I asked you: can you expand this at all? All right, and if you can expand it. And you basically double your income once you get it online and streamline it and everything. That would be your retirement, and you don't need this 150. Who needs $150,000 a year residual? I mean, what are you going to? And this is why I say you got the California mentality. You think you need 150? No, get the fuck out of California. I would have you talk to my accountant, Chad Elkins, say your corporation the fuck out of California so you're not paying those fucking ass-raping taxes. Go set it up in Nevada. Go do anything but be in California. Make your money and then buy some ranch out near Pahrump or Vegas or Utah or someplace where it's nowhere near as taxy and you live on the cheap. So, in other words, there's no opportunity by which you're going to meet this $150,000 residual income goal. You'd have to have a lot of capital saved up to, what is 150? How much would you need at current dividend rates? Calculator, is it 3 million divided by 0.02? Or is it 30 million? Is that really it? Do the math right on that? 150,000. Well, there's one way to find out, times 0.02. Yeah, okay, I did do that right. All right, you need $7.5 million in the bank to have dividend and interest income coming off of that. Considerably less if you want to become a major player in like Prosper.com, these peer-to-peer lending places get 6 to 8%. Maybe that's another option for you. But honestly, dude, like me, I would be reinvesting in your own business because that's going to give you the highest rate of returns. And I know you'd like to diversify your income stream, but right now you strike while the iron's hot, and you're still diversifying. You're going to take your money and put it in the stocks, bonds, or whatever. You're not pissing it away. You're saving during the 7 years of feast in anticipation of the 7 years of famine. It's people who make all their money, piss it away like all these Bakken oil field workers blew it on their Dodge Ram diesel pickup trucks, and they didn't save anything. You're going to be smart. You're going to save it. All right? So that 5 to 10 years down the road, you got maybe $1.5 million in the bank, and then it's like, oh, okay, maybe I could live off of this with the 4% Mr. Money Mustache 4% rule. All right? But I'm just saying there's no option for you unless you're going to start another business, and you're going to have to come up with another idea, and you're going to have the time to run it. So there is no real option there. So again, focus on your business. The only thing I would consider, and this is where you may want to talk to Mr. Elkins, is buying rental property. As of right now, because you're looking at a 3 to 5 year horizon, you're not going to be moving out. You need to be near. You still have to steer the ship. It might be worth it if you find the right property in Sacramento, buy your office where you can walk to work, rent it out to some buddies, and you make it work. You're a finance guy, you can do the numbers, you can do the cash flow calculations, or I'm sure you can do that. You gotta find the exact right property. The price could go up or down. That's not really what you're concerned about. Right now, you're looking to cash flow it out, have subsidized rent, be close to work. That's really what, it's gotta be the perfect property. So maybe you find something out there like that. You sit on it, you rent it out, have other people pay your mortgage, you save some money on it, rent expense, maybe even make money if you find the right property. It covers all the expenses and everything. And then hopefully, although I don't base things on hope, but down the road, assuming more quantitative easy money, there is no housing crash, blah, 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 maybe it goes up a couple $100,000. And then, again, not cash flow, but capital gains. Then after that, maybe you'll realize a decent rate of return. Sell that property, buy yourself up several properties in Vegas, buy yourself several properties in Colorado or wherever it is, Arizona, and then that could be your diversification into real estate. All right, so you'd have your business, and then you'd have the beginnings of real estate, but you're going to use that magical rental property, if it exists even, in Sacramento, California, that's going to work for you. It's going to work for you. You walk right next door to office. I mean, you walk to work. It's saving you time, saving you money, saving like that. You're renting out to your buddies. That is about the only other way I think about diversifying, because it doesn't take time buying a property. You might have to manage it a little bit, but it's not starting a whole new business. And I'm not joking, it has to be within walking distance to work, so you save all the time in the world. That's about the only thing I could think about you diversifying into, aside from another business. But otherwise, yeah, dude, I would be focusing on your business, saving your money. Don't piss it away. Don't knock it off with this $35,000 for a used fucking car. What the fuck is that bullshit? Look, I'll cut you a deal. I'll find you just as good as car with low miles, and you could pay me $20,000. If you pay me $25,000, I'll find you a $5,000 car. I'll drive that car from wherever I find it using Autotrader.com, and I'll drive it. And I'll save you $10,000. You got yourself a decent car. For $5,000, but you have to pay me a $20,000 finder's fee. You're still $10,000 ahead. So yeah, I'm sorry, that's the nature of the market out there. There just is not. There's just so much baby boomer, retirement dollar, and quantitative easing and borrow money flooding these different markets. There's just that the asset prices are too high. There's no place you can just park your money and make your 7 to 8% a year. And we hope that helped out. If you guys got questions, go to assholeconsulting.com. You can hit me up also on Praxi, the Praxi app. You can call me directly, like FaceTime, except it's Praxi. So you can Praxi me by downloading the Praxi app. I charge $2 a minute because I'm a greedy fuck. And I just had a client today. Totally helped him and his daughters out so that they wouldn't major in the liberal arts. And he said, oh, geez, you charge a lot. Well, let me think. I charged the guy $60, and I think we convinced his daughter not to major in education. And she's going to go into IT or math now. I think they're going to come out ahead more than $60. We got my books on Amazon.com. You can find those there. Aaron Clarey, Clarey. And we have my podcast, The Clarey Podcast. You can find that on SoundCloud.com. We'll see you guys later. Toodles.